Woo! Welcome, everyone, to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Chattanooga on this Sunday morning in August. It is a day that the weather will change because we live in Chattanooga perhaps 17 times. So be flexible in life. My name is the Reverend Mandy Goheen. My pronouns are she, her, and it is my honor to welcome you here today. It's so good to see some faces that I've been missing all week, and it's great to be gathered in a space of learning and welcome. I'm already hearing people chatting, are you an introvert or an extrovert? So I think this will be a good day to learn and talk about how that impacts our soul and our spirituality, not just psychology. Welcome to this space. No matter who you are, no matter if you're full of excitement to be around people or you're cautiously tiptoeing in the door, welcome. Welcome if you just like to be around people but don't know why. That's good enough for me. This is a good place to learn and grow and practice our values together. In Unitarian Universalist churches all over the place, the first thing that we do, welcome, and light a chalice. The first thing that we do is light a chalice to mark the beginning of our time together. And Jen, I would like to invite you forward to light our chalice. Please join me in the chalice lighting words. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Selena, it's time for our opening song.
Welcome, everybody. Take a moment to stand, if you're able, and greet each other or wave at each other across the way, whatever feels right for you. I'm going to play our opening song a couple of times while you're doing that, and then we'll sing together. Go!
Love your glasses. They're very awesome. And you were here last week?
everybody gets to do this time. We're going to sing Comfort Me one more time, and I hope you'll allow yourself some freedom of expression within it. Here we go. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Thank you.
And now it is time for our story for all ages. And if you'd like to come up here and sit with me on the floor, you are welcome to. And we are going to talk about the brain. Who has a brain? Who has a brain? Did you bring your brains? Okay, good. What's the brain? It's the stuff in your head that makes you think. Yeah. You brought your brain? Okay, great. You only brought half of your brain. My brain did only have 1 cup of coffee, so it's a little fuzzy. This is a story called The Debate Among the Parts of the Brain. Are you going to read with me? Okay, great. Okay, that's good. Based on Aesop's fable, The Belly and Other Members of the Body. Once upon a time, the various parts of the brain got together to discuss their contributions to the uniqueness of human being. Each part of the brain thought the human ought to know that it was the most important in determining what it meant to be human. You know, you really could not breathe without me, said the brain stem, the oldest part of the brain at the very bottom. Let me see how special you feel if you can't breathe. Can you say that word? Diflecanthum? Diencephalai. Oh my goodness. The next part, moving upwards, chimed in. Yes, but I produce hunger pangs to let you know when to eat. Without me, you would starve. The limbic system tried to speak, but the other parts rudely told the limbic system that its animal impulses like lust, violence, created some of the humankind's worst problems, and no one would listen to it. Everyone who has spoken so far belong to what humans like to call the primitive brain, explained the cerebral cortex. I'm what makes humans unique. I present you the 4 lobes of greatness, and each of the cerebral cortex's lobes then spoke. I'm the occipital lobe. I'm involved with vision. I'm the parietal lobe. We should have had Pam read this story. I'm the parietal lobe. I receive sensory information from the body. That's not all. I also take the letters to the occipital lobe to see, or the letters I feel, if using Braille, and form them into words. And then I string words together to form thoughts. The other parts of the brain were impressed and applauded. Thought a bit of a braggart, the parietal lobe had the decency to blush. And now the bar was set even higher. You all know me, I'm the temporal lobe. I'm all over the place. I do a little of the vision work, I interpret most of what you hear, coordinate language, learning, and memory, and even dabble in your emotions. I'm a jack of all trades. Yes, but where would any of you be without me, said the frontal lobe. I do all the problem solving and decision making and conscious behavior. I make sure you do not act in inappropriate ways. The frontal lobe said directly to the limbic system, this is my use of reason that makes humans unique. Hey, wait, shouted the temporal lobe. You forgot to mention that you too are involved in emotions. You're not just dealing in reason with your folds and orbital frontal cortex, or OFC. I know this because we're good friends and communicating all the time. The OFC integrates emotions into the decision-making process. Yeah, OFC and I are buddies too, said the limbic system. It's always in touch with the primitive parts of the brain. Before you make a decision to act, the frontal lobe, The OFC has checked out how the person feels about the action and decided the best thing to do. You cannot make a decision without consulting the parts of the brain responsible for emotions, and those parts are all over the place. The old idea that human beings are mostly rational animals is outdated. We're not rational. That's what it says. Even your frontal, the most rational part of the brain, consults the emotions to do your job, which is making decisions. In fact, said the OFC, it has been presented all along, but preferred to work behind the scenes. Conscious decisions are not literally conscious at all. All decisions involve some kind of unconscious processing. Blah, blah, blah. Right? The unconscious thoughts are influenced by emotions, yes, but also strongly influenced by memory. We, the brain parts, ask ourselves, have I encountered this situation before? And then use the answers to inform our decisions. Therefore, humans' previous experience and even their habits inform your actions on conscious and unconscious level. So be careful of your habits, actions, and deeds, said Temporal. Likewise, be careful of your thoughts and words. Wow, we're really wise when we work together. Thank you for adding drama to an already silly story. But just know, just like the brain, when we all work together instead of arguing over who's cooler, we can do a better job. And that concludes our story. And that concludes your brain. Okay, let our brain sing you off to class now. I don't know if I can keep going without my sidekick to act out all my words. It'll be fun. Okay, we were talking about the brains, but let's talk about our body for a minute. So let's all take a deep breath together. And sometimes realize that we can get too far into our brains and forget that our bodies need nourishment, need rest. Sometimes we get stuck in emotion, so I want to teach us something that's pretty fun today. It's called shaking it off. Does everybody know that shaking it off works? So if you're comfortable rising in body or spirit, we're going to shake it off together a little bit. So please rise, and we're going to start shaking it off with, if you're able, you can put your hand on a chair with one of your feet and just shake it out. Shake the other foot out. Give your arms a shake. Give your body a good twist. Shake your head. And as silly as you can look, shake all over. Get it all out. And then, taking a deep breath, please return to your seats. We are no one part. We are many parts together. And shaking it off can add joy and shift our gears when things are hard. I have 2 big dogs, and they fight really kind of, I don't know, it's a little scary sometimes. And what I notice is as soon as they're done or I go, stop it, they both shake. It's a way that we can shift our gears and take just a moment to recognize and take care of ourselves in hard situations. It also changes the subject if you just start shaking in front of somebody that you're upset with. We have a gift in our soul of humor. We have a gift to reset our brain chemistry by shaking it off, by taking a deep breath, and a place to reset, which is right here. So I invite you all into a moment of silent reset together.
I don't want to. I don't
And as you bring your awareness back into the room, I invite you to share by coming forward to light a candle any of those things you might have been shaking off earlier, things that bear witness and bear being held in this community. So anyone who has a joy or concern they'd like to bring forward, I invite you now to come light candles. All This Talk of Saving Souls by Linda M. Underwood. All this talk of saving souls. Souls weren't made to save, like Sunday clothes give out at the seams. They're made to wear. They come with lifetime guarantees. Don't save your soul. Pour it out like rain on the cracked, parched earth. Give your soul away or pass it like a candle flame. Sing out or laugh it up in the wind. Souls were made for hearing, breaking hearts, for puzzling dreams, remembering August flowers and forgetting hurts. These men who talk of saving souls, they have the looks of bullies who blow out candles before you sing happy birthday and want the world to be in alphabetical order. I will spend my soul playing it out like sticky string in the world so I can catch every last thing I touch. May it be so. To introvert or to extrovert? That is the question. In our society, we have a tendency to blame. We have a tendency to lean towards a binary, and whenever things don't match that binary, that understood set point, we blame. And one of the things that I want to really push back against today is the idea that introverts or extroverts are on purpose. This is biochemical. This is the way our brains work. And I heard this really great analogy for introverts versus extroverts, and it has to do with spoons. So, imagine an extrovert gets ready to come to church and they have 5 spoons. And maybe they have 5 conversations and they're out of spoons when they leave. Did I say extrovert? Oh, dang it. Just introvert. Okay, yes. I knew I was saying it and it just sounded so wrong. An introvert brings the amount of spoons they have. An extrovert comes to church with no spoons and gathers the spoons they need to fill them up. Yesterday, I went on a trip with my spouse, Andre, and beloved Lynn Higgins to see a family named the Shoemakers, some of you know, and we went out to their house. And it was a lovely visit. We got stuck there in a storm about the time my introvert husband was done being there. And so we were sitting there, and it was storming, and then we finally got in the car and got everything loaded up and hit the road to come back, and you could just see him just like, oh, thank goodness, it's over. And next to him in the front seat is an out extrovert, Lynn Higgins. And she went, that was amazing. I'm so filled up. That was so fun. And I'm something in the middle, so I'm in the back seat just looking out the window dreaming. It's interesting how our social interactions impact us and impact our emotions, but it is not a choice. It is biochemical. It is the way our brains work. Introverts have more dopamine uptake receptors. So they are easily getting the dopamine they need to keep going. They don't even need to be around me. I'm kidding. Or anybody to get that. Extroverts, on the other hand, have less receptors and need more exciting action to get that same space filled in their brain. There was a study done with bias, and we've heard about bias before. It's when our brain reacts to a thing and we don't have a lot of control over it. And they did an extrovert-introvert test on bias. And they used pictures of flowers and pictures of faces, and it was just flashed, and they measured the electrical, magnetic, whatever happens in your brain, something fancy, chemical, magic, whatever. And they found that introverts had the same reaction to the flower as the face. And extroverts had higher electrochemical activity in their brain when they saw a face, not the flower. So this is not a choice. This is not something that we get to decide, but it's not a binary either. The truth is we're kind of both. So this is the basic definitions of these two things. And we hear this a lot. The introversion values one-to-one friendships, favors independence, doesn't love to be the center of attention, and values deep experience. Extroverts seek stimulation, energized around people, think out loud. Oh, not always right. Large social networks, thrive in teams and crowds, and enjoy the center of attention. But I want to point out that these are binaries. These are two ends of a spectrum. And you know we all get in trouble when we try to put ourselves into one category, right? So there's their spectrum. Ambiversion is something in the middle, and the reason I've taken lots of personality tests, it's part of the job preparedness for becoming a minister, and I hit just right on the other side of extrovert. I'm not an introvert, I'm not an extrovert. I have 3 spoons when I get here and usually 3 when I leave. It's not to be confused with social anxiety. I do have social anxiety. So here's the deal with me. It might appear like extroversion, or introversion, but what it really is the transition is hard for me, and I will get anxious about the event, but then when I get there, I'm fine. Same thing with public speaking. Anxious about the idea that I'm going to speak, and the minute I step up here and the piano starts, I'm like, yeah, cool, we're good. So not to get that anxiety mixed up. Also, here's another thing. Shyness is not only about introversion. People can be shy extroverts. People can be bold introverts, socially bold introverts. Shyness is more of a learned behavioral technique for protection generally, or it's not the same thing, and we get that mixed up again. So this is a better depiction of how this works, and everybody likes a good diagram. But where did this idea of introversion and extroversion come from? This comes from the ideas of Freud and then Carl Jung. Carl Jung is next, right after Freud. Carl Jung doesn't have the same, I like Jung better because he's not so mad at the mom. I get kind of exhausted by psychology that it's like, clearly it's the mother's fault. And I'm like, well, there were other people there, I bet. He doesn't think of your libido in the same way as Freud does. He's not acting like it's some uncontrollable force that you're always fighting. It's something that enhances your life. And when the subject of introversion comes up the first time for him in the early 1900s, he's talking about an expression of how people are loving in relationships. And he's talking about an introverted love. He's not talking about people necessarily. He's talking about expressions of emotions. Carl Jung's really into the archetypes, and I kind of like them too. The idea of the hero, the flood, even in mythology, is considered a character. The virgin birth is something that comes up. The thoughtful sort, there are all kinds of things. We're all different tropes in stories. It's the way we function in society. He borrows this from anthropology, but he says our archetypes are variable over time, and they're universal symbols of our own understanding of our psyche, and they're found in religious art and mythology and fairy tales across culture. The other thing is Jung is a pretty religious guy. He's Christian, which is differing from Freud as well. And he's taking into consideration the needs of the psyche and the interconnectedness of the soul with what your personality is. He also believes in collective unconscious. That's the first time we're hearing this in psychology. He's introducing this idea that there is influence by past events on people who you are part of their family. It's like the generational trauma we talk about. He's using it in a more positive way. He's measuring resilience more than trauma. And extroversion and introversion are personality traits of degrees of openness or reserved conditioning to psychological types. It is not a diagnosis. It's not its own thing. It's the way that we're expressing our interpersonal relationships. It's the way we have an understanding of ourselves. He also talks about the shadow self, which I find interesting, and that is the repressed, therefore unknown aspects of personality, often considered negative, but those are also part of that collective unconscious. He also thinks that people have a complex organization of images that dictate what and how they believe. Coming back to introversion and extroversion, what this means is some people have an internal dialogue and some people don't. I have a big internal dialogue. Who here has a big internal dialogue? Shocking that we're all here together, right? Surprise! That is why we're here. People with this internal dialogue also have this need to have meaning making in their lives outside of work, outside of play, and they tend to come to religion to express that. We come here for different reasons to be fed in different ways. But an introvert might be here just to explore and be around people and learn new things and observe, where an extrovert might be spinning through the room and running into people. See, I can be both. The important thing in here is that we don't consider this something bad. We live in an extroverted society. Our societal norms praise and reward extroverts. Extroverts get the job easier because they are more talkative and they're more vocal about what they're doing. They may take a bigger chance. They're recognized in the workplace. But the beauty of a place that is focused on spirituality, souls, self-development, personal development is there's room for that quietness here. There's room for that together, and it is lifted up as a gift, not something that might be considered a flaw. Not something that would be used to make us feel other. Look at our property, and if you don't know this, we have trails on our property, and the trails have meditation spaces. There's a labyrinth to be quiet. There are ways around here to be quiet together, and there are ways around here to be loud and celebrate together. It's because we're not specifically looking at the outcome of a person like a job would and how much production would be the outcome. Here, we're looking at what options and tools are we building for our own self-development and self-awareness. Young finds that very important. That's the end goal, is not just to become a good person, but to know yourself well enough to understand whether you're bringing spoons to church or you're picking some up. Being in touch with what we need gives us an opportunity to communicate better with people. I have seen a name tag around here that says introvert on it. I've seen a funny t-shirt today. That is to be celebrated, not by running up and hugging them and jumping up and down. But just the idea that this is a space where those boundaries are respected and they're actually pretty sacred. The idea that you could develop something on your own. And also, just because people are in front standing up here talking doesn't mean they're extroverts. Introverts have had to adapt and change to be part of this society in the United States consistently. Performers are oftentimes introverts. Yes. Yes. And it's a kind of use of energy. Have you seen a performer that will do something really amazing and spectacular and then they run out? They don't need or want to be swamped afterwards. They've already used their spoons. We have to be kind to each other. None of these things should ever be weaponized. We should never say, oh, they're an introvert, so I'm not going to invite them over to dinner. They wouldn't like that. We can't make decisions for other people, so we have to be very careful about how we label and judge. And remember that this is a spectrum. It's not solid. It's not a binary. And I keep saying that because Jung also explored gender this way. This is pretty early 1900s, and he has the same understanding of gender, that it is not solid, that men have things that are dictated as feminine and back and forth, and nobody is quite one or the other. So it makes sense that we use that example that we're learning and understanding in the world about gender norms, right, and gender fluidity. It makes sense that if we're talking about personal development, that all the kinds of stuff about us has that fluidity, that ability to adapt and change and lean into things another way. When we start knowing for certain what and who and how we are, that is a sign that maybe we're off track. It's a sign to us to start exploring. Every time I think I'm certain, I know I'm wrong. Not actually right away always, a little bit later, but when we look at things in a spectrum or in a rainbow or in a non-binary way, it takes it out, and that still feels flat to me. I wonder if now we start thinking about prisms, multidimensional ways that gender and personality can change and flow back and forth. But the most important part about this today here in Unitarian Universalism is our first principle says that we are people of inherent worth and dignity. We are starting this exploration from a space of we are good and we can be better together, not in a space of assuming badness. And that is a real gift around here. It's really great to get to start in the middle. Start somewhere on the spectrum, not of good or bad, this or that. A place where we can explore who we are and embrace it and lean into our gifts and lean into our understanding of the world around us. This is like the best place to practice that. Practice getting to know each other, practice understanding what people might need, how to care best for people. During COVID, there was a meme on Facebook or something that said, "Introverts unite in their own houses." And we're going through a transition of a world that was kind of nice for introverts for a while, where you got some space, you got a little more time to think, you didn't have to have quite the close social interaction with people. And remember, we are adjusting. We're adjusting into what this time is. And there's some extra care we need to take of ourselves and each other so that we understand how many spoons we have. Because when you run out of spoons, you get grumpy, right? I know I do. My kids lose silverware all the time and actually really, really grumpy. I live in a household full of introverts, and I am not quite an introvert. We are happy. Let's have family dinner. And my kids would be like, "Do we have to sit at the table together?" Yes, you do. Once a week, whether you like it or not. That's the thing. We adapt to be together because being in this community is worth it. We can make folks feel comfortable. We can give them opportunities to learn more about themselves. But the most important part is you are learning more about you and how to take care of your soul and your heart so that we can do justice in the world and we can be good people, and people will be proud to know that we come from UUCC. May it be so. Speaking, she can come on. Does she need a microphone? No? Are you sure? She does not need amplification. There's all these buttons. It doesn't look on. Oh, I don't know. There's another one. Oh.
Is it on now?
Yes.
Okay. This, by the way, is the name tag that says introvert on it. And I would invite you up later to see it, but that would be against type. So. But you know it's there. So our social justice moment today comes from a modern Druid. If we remember, Druids were ancient Celts, and Druidry was their religion and their way of life. Unfortunately, not a lot survives from that time, as they did not have a written language, and so modern Druidry has evolved to try and capture the spirit of that old religion. So, in modern Druidry, the land is critically important. The flora, the fauna, the land, the sea, and the sky, they are believed to be very sacred and divine. So from a modern Druid named Joanna van der Hoeven, Druidry seeks to strengthen the bonds of our relationship with the natural world gaining inspiration and wisdom from studying the patterns that nature is constantly unfolding around us and using that as inspiration for a more holistic way of life. At its very core, Druidry holds a reverence for nature. It is about attuning to the cycles of nature that we often find ourselves distanced from in this modern world. Being a Druid is about taking responsibility for one's actions as well as for one's environment. It is waking up and making a commitment to understand to the best of our abilities everything that we do and say. It is learning about the behavioral patterns in our own selves as well as those that share our environment. It is learning from the cycles of nature, the seasons, the tides, and the times of life. It is knowing when to break free, when to retreat, when to shout aloud, and when to keep quiet. Being a Druid is about making life choices in everything, from vigilant recycling to knowing where our tap water comes from. It is about making a relationship with everything, from the food we eat to the badgers that have lost their homes due to the new housing development. It is a huge sacrifice, giving up ignorance and opening our eyes to the world and seeing what we can do to make it a better place.
I love how many traditions have the same basic set of values of how to be good, and that I feel really curious about the connections to Unitarian Universalism. Thank you. It's offertory time. So I don't know if you all read the newsletter this week. Did you see the newsletter? Did you see the nursery? How? The nursery looks amazing, and do you know why the nursery needed to look so amazing? Does anybody know what's going on around here? We are having from up to 11 kids in the nursery on Sundays downstairs. Who doesn't love a baby? It's awesome, and we had parents and nursery workers and our religious education director just plowed through some junk, which is always feels good. We are growing tiny seeds of Unitarian Universalism, and it is just thrilling. They're doing some religious education even with the nursery, spirit play, and I think it's called something else. Chalice Children. That's the right, yeah, Chalice Children. And I just feel like if anything says that this place is healthy, it's having a bunch of kids downstairs and new families, and I'm just so proud of the welcome you all have given to new people. We are our best advertisers. We need to be inviting people to come to church. I know. We're going to get better at what we say. We'll work on that in the next few weeks. But come to church. It's fun. There's lots of kids. We welcome people. And there's always something interesting to talk about. Heck, we have coffee. It doesn't have to be a big elevator speech, just an invitation. Because young families are inviting each other to this place, and that is really special. And that work is part of the reason we take an offertory, so that we can support families and children in Chattanooga, have a space where no matter who you are, you can bring your kids without judgment and with love, and I'm pretty proud of that. And if you're proud of that too, please give generously to the offering if this is a day that you have that means. If you don't know if you're buy into this place yet, let the offering plate pass you by, unless you've been here a lot and you still don't know if you believe it. But this place is growing Unitarian Universalism in Chattanooga, and I couldn't be prouder. And for that reason, our offering will be gratefully accepted. join me in our offertory response? We give these gifts freely, committed to our mission to care, create beloved community, awaken hearts and minds, resist injustice and act with compassion, embrace life and care for the earth. To this work, we dedicate our offerings. It's time for our closing song. Please rise in body or spirit and joining us in There Is More Love Somewhere.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
Please be seated. So what? So what? Things are always changing. Things are always different. This place is more than a building. It is people. It is the way we've learned together. It is what we learn together, and that we keep beginning again in love. I'm pretty sad that I have to invite you up here, because you knew that was coming. So Selena is going on a boat ride to Ireland, but also this is her last Sunday as our interim music director. Oh. Uh-oh. But no, let's not boo someone. That's not nice. Not even for an extrovert. Anyway. So I wanted to give you a gift because you're going to be on a journey. I wanted it to be something that you could take with you. So a journal for your adventures across the sea, and just a reminder of my gratitude for how much we have learned together the last little bit, and how I just stood here and heard people sing because you taught them that they could. And my gratitude for that is boundless. Thank you. And I assume you want to say thanks too. Here, this one's on.
This is very weird. Thank you so much. I love this community so much, I have to say, and it's been such a joy for me to well, to play the Steinway Grand every Sunday, that has to be said. But I feel like together we've learned how to make music really well. You know, and I can't explain it. But it's been such a privilege to be here and to listen to you sing, too. And I've actually watched some people go from not being comfortable at all with congregational singing to starting to improvise things. Maybe it's not always intentional, but you know, still, it's great singing. We had Music Sunday 2 weeks ago, and I've watched the video of it over and over because it's so exciting what the congregation is doing. What the congregation is doing. I mean, you're a singing church, as a matter of fact. So I just want to let you know that I'll be gone for a good long time on this trip that I'm taking, but I will be back. Just not as your music director. Anytime you want to do some kind of musical project with me, you just let me know, because I still want to do that. I'm still going to be singing and making music in this community. But you've taken such good care of me, and I really, really appreciate it. I want to point out that Layla Rose is going to be playing the piano over the next 6 weeks. Exactly. You can wave. Also, and we'll see from beyond there as well, but you're going to be in really good hands during that time. But thank you so much to everybody, and I appreciate this. It's very, very nice. So I love you all very much. Okay.
That's like one of those before and after shots about how we were singing at Christmas and how we're singing now. So it took a community to do that, and thank you for leading us into that. And there's nothing better to hear, and I would hear Selena do it over and over again. Somebody would say, I can't sing, I can't. And she was like, oh, of course you can. And just that, I hope we can carry that spirit into our music program moving forward. Thank you so much. So we're going to extinguish our chalice. And please join me with our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but keep the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. Announcements. Does anybody want to announce these two things? They look awesome. Community cleanup event, August 19th on Brainerd Road. There's information back on the table back there. Awesome, awesome. I'm bringing my teens, and we're going to go and clean some stuff up. Do you want to say something about it? No, you're just thumbs upping. All right. Bring people who have to get out of trouble to clean. That's my guess. And then Parents' Night Out. This is really exciting, too. I remember when my kids weren't old enough to leave home, and we didn't get out very much. So I'm excited that there'll be a space for Parents' Night Out where people are comfortable and kids are comfortable hanging out. There'll be nursery open that night, so it'll be for older kids and nursery. Christian, do you have an announcement? I don't know why I said that. I was thinking you might. Microphone's right there. On that side. Oh, no. Ah!
Okay, everybody. Gonna see you all this coming Saturday.
Here, Coach. Here's your microphone.
This coming Saturday, Finley Stadium, 7 p.m. I see you right on time that we're gonna go watch together the sport. I know you guys are into American football, but let's watch el football. Fußball. Some people call it soccer. I'm here just with my Austrian national team, who just fantastically lose most of the time. And nevertheless, I'm going back to that stadium. So I welcome you, everyone. Come along. By Thursday, would be great if you can RSVP me. You find it in the newsletter. You can check with anybody who seems somewhat responsible here for items. They will have my number, so you can get in contact. We're going to buy general admission tickets. They have separate tickets for, I think, $18 or $12 for adults and children. Have an enjoyable evening together. So this is our last of our Summer Night Series program, where we had for the other events between 13 to 22 people. We had a lot of fun. So come out this coming Saturday at 7 p.m. at Finley Stadium. If you're okay, then I hand off the mic maybe to Roger for our sign up for yoga, because I heard he did such a terrific job last time.
Nothing like putting me on the spot.
Good thing you're not an introvert, Roger.
Yeah. Well, right over there by Farron is presenting the music stand there, which has, we have quite a few people. Farron, how many do we have there? Like 15 maybe?
11 people.
11 people?
Optimistic.
Oh, okay. It's a lot of fun. I've done it now a few months. Christian has been there. We have some great teachers that are interested, and we have to be interested too, so the great teachers will, have people to teach. So please sign up if you want to know about yoga or you like yoga. This is a great event, and it'll be 6 o'clock one night, whatever night we pick. We've been doing it Monday, but it could be any night. So I hope to see some of you out there. Anybody else? Judith.
Okay, so here is another opportunity for everyone to get involved. You know that Tennessee is in the middle of trying to get some kind of laws about guns. So, and I know some of you are perhaps looking forward to going to Nashville and talking later in August. And here's another opportunity closer to home. So the Tennessee Democratic Caucus is going to hold some rallies across the state, and they're going to do one here in Chattanooga for sensible gun laws. They won't go further than that, but sensible is a good start, right? Mm-hmm. So this will be, they will be coming to Chattanooga on Wednesday, August 16th. I think that's this week. I've been gone for a week, so I'm a little bit. But so at 6 o'clock at Miller Park, I know our group will be here and we'll bring signs, but if you want to make a sign, make it. If you don't have any signs, come anyway. Wednesday, 6 o'clock, Miller Park. It's your opportunity to say something. Anybody else? What? Well, it's the Democratic Caucus.
Okay. Yay, thank you. I just want to say, if you are joining the shared pulpit class, it starts today. It's meeting in person from 3 to 5 right here. Oh, right over there. And we're going to do, the shared pulpit is an opportunity. It's a writing and public speaking curriculum that will help provide opportunities for people to get to know Unitarian Universalism better and why we do the things we do. That's always going to be a question, probably, though. So I don't think we'll ever answer that one. But it is an 8-week class. We're going to set the schedule together. It's going to be hybrid, partially meeting in person, partially on Google Meet. And just stay tuned, because I think you'll be seeing some people from that class presenting and doing some cool things during worship. With that said, our service is over. May our service to the world begin. Have a wonderful week.